What if I told you a homeowner sold their home to one of those we buy houses for cash companies? And less than a month later, that same house sold for $90,000 more. Now, here's the unbelievable part: the investor didn't remodel the kitchen, they didn't update bathrooms, they didn't even paint walls. So, where did the extra $90,000 come from? Let's take a look. Welcome back to The Real Cost of Fast Cash, where I follow homes that were purchased by cash buyer companies to show homeowners what exactly happens after the sale. My goal isn't to say cash buyers are bad. They absolutely have their place, especially for homeowners facing foreclosure, major repairs, or difficult situations. But if your home is in decent condition, even if it's not in decent condition, it's important to understand all of your options before accepting an offer. Now, today's property is another great example. This home was a brick Cape Cod located in the Oriole Park area of Chicago. It was built in the 1940s, about 1,500 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, a finished basement, a one-car garage. According to the records, the property was sold from a trust. So whether it was an estate sale or another type of trust, I don't know for certain. But on April 22nd, they sold to one of these companies for $345,000. Less than 1 month later, the exact same house hit the market for $439,900. That's a $95,000 increase. So you're probably thinking, okay, what did they do to justify that price? Well, let's take a look at the photos and see what they did. Okay, from everything visible in the listing photos, the home looks essentially the same. The only noticeable difference was the few photos that were virtually staged. To their credit, they also included the original unstaged photos, which I actually appreciate because buyers know exactly what they're walking into. It's possible they removed personal belongings that the previous owner left behind, since many cash companies advertise that the sellers can leave whatever they don't want. But beyond that, I simply don't see evidence of any cosmetic improvements. And if you compare the living room and dining room photos, the original photos, you can see even the indents in the carpet from where furniture had been sitting in both the living room and the dining room. And they didn't paint anything. The basement, they wouldn't have painted that yellow. Those just are not colors that they use. So essentially, they didn't make any improvements. So when the listing went live at that price, just 13 days later, it was under contract, and it ultimately sold for $435,000. That's $90,000 more than the original homeowner received, without even doing cosmetic updates. Now, before anyone jumps into the comments, no, this doesn't automatically mean every seller would have walked away with an extra $90,000. There are always holding costs, closing costs, real estate commission, property taxes, insurance, utilities. These are expenses involved in owning and selling a home. But here's the question I always ask. Could the original homeowner have received significantly more by exposing the property to the open market instead of selling directly to an investor? Based on what we can actually see here, it's certainly a question worth asking. The market ultimately proved there were buyers willing to pay substantially more for this property exactly as it sat. That's why I always encourage homeowners to know what their home is worth before accepting the first cash offer. Getting multiple opinions costs you nothing. Leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table can cost you everything. Now, cash buyers absolutely serve a purpose. Sometimes speed is more important than price. Sometimes a home truly isn't financeable. Sometimes the seller simply wants the convenience. But convenience should always be an informed decision. Before you sign a contract, find out what your home could realistically sell for on the open market. You may discover the difference is much larger than you expected. If you'd like a free, no obligation home value, there's a link in the description below. And if you enjoy seeing these real life property breakdowns, be sure to subscribe because I documented dozens of homes just like this, and everyone tells a different story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.